You're tuned into Visions, a business and community affairs program designed to encourage and promote entrepreneurship in Central Alabama.
Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Vision. Cedric Vaughn. We're excited about our guests and our subject today. We're talking with Douglas Watson, who is the certified member and executive director of the John Maxwell Team. Mr. Watson, thanks for coming back to be with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Good. Well, this segment, you know, we're happy to have you on the last time, and so we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about professional development and leadership training, and one of the greatest of all times, Dr. John Maxwell is a specialist in the area of leadership development, and so you're coming to give us some more information.
That's correct. John Maxwell has actually written over 20-some books, sold 100 and some thousand copies of books, 1 million copies of books. So he's done a lot of work. You know, he's like the guru of leadership and professional growth and development. So I'm proud to be a part of his team, and it's a lot of content that he shares with us, a lot of teaching that we take in so we can go and help facilitate teaching and helping others grow. Yeah.
Well, one of the things we want to talk about today is the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, and that's the title of one of the many books that he has. And we've got a graphic we want to show you so that you'll know how it looks when you go to the bookstore to get it. And in the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, they're talking about how to reach your potential.
That's correct. I thought it's fitting to talk about, you know, it's coming to the end of the year. A lot of us are making New Year's resolutions, and you know, statistic has it that you know, only anywhere from 8 to 12 people actually carry out their resolution. They say about the second week in February we've kind of fallen off the wagon, and that's because we don't really have a plan to grow. We have a lot of ideas. But we don't have a plan to grow, and that's really what this book is about, trying to implement a plan that can help you ongoing growth. Yeah. You know, the first law that I want to talk about is the first law is a law of intentionality. It means growth is not an automatic process. You know, a lot of us want microwave growth. You know, we used to having stuff right here, then and now, and we need results right here and now. And life doesn't happen that way. You know, if you think about how we were when we don't remember, but I'm pretty sure our parents do. When we were kids or we were a baby, you know, we didn't come out the womb walking. And then we started walking, we didn't take the first step without falling. And we fell, and we had a lot of falls before we actually got up and began to walk. That's how growth is. You know, we think that because I have an idea that it's going to happen, and you know, life comes and just kind of slaps us across the head, and then we kind of fall back. So just because we want to grow, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, you know, automatically.
Well, that's one of the points that you made about growing a garden and buying seeds, and you just can't just throw them out there.
You can't. You know, it's amazing. You know, we spend a lot of time, you know, planning, you know, our vacation, and when you get married, you plan the wedding, but we don't spend enough time planning our own life. And if you plant a garden, you can throw some seeds out. You might have one or two that sprout, but you know, you have to fertilize it, you have to water it, you have to weed it out, and you have to keep going. And then next year, those same seeds are not going to be barren, so you have to dig it up, cultivate it, add more fertilizer, and keep it growing. And that's how it is with us. Now, we think, you know, I guess by nature, our bodies grow, but we don't grow through life like that. And I think that's where we kind of get confused.
Well, you know, one of the points that you made in your notes to us about this particular segment is that from one of the very noted writers named James Allen, that people are anxious to improve their circumstances but are unwilling to improve themselves. Therefore, they remain bound.
That's correct. We get stuck. You know, we look around and we want to change all the circumstances around our life, surrounding our life, but we don't want to change ourselves. And so we kind of hit the restart button over and over again. We have a saying, you know, you kick the ball, drag Charlie, kick the ball, drag Charlie, and that's all we do is we kind of go through that. And I've been through that. I can talk from experience. It's not that I've gotten to this certain age and I've done this all my life. I know what it's like to struggle, to be challenged, to want to get to a certain place, and you start off with a lot of zeal and vitality and vigor, and then the first roadblock we kind of fall off. Yeah. You know, and we don't have a plan. I've gone through life early on. You know, I did things by sheer resilience. Didn't have a plan, but as you get older, you know, you kind of get a little bit wiser, and you realize you don't have to go through that anymore. You know, I like to look at like a football team, professional, high school, college. or basketball team or any kind of athletic program, those guys and ladies don't go out there and not practice. They don't go out there without a game plan. If they want to succeed, they have to have a plan. They have to execute the plan, and they have to practice every day to get better at that plan. That's how our life is. We have to practice every day, to get better.
That's good.
And we have to have a plan of where we're trying to go to.
Now, as far as this growth and this growth plan, one of the things that you've done is you brought us a book. We've shown the graphic, and we want to hold up the book so that our viewers can see it. You brought, I think Dr. Maxwell has written a hard copy, and I think he's also got a soft copy. If we're able to get that, and so that our viewers can see what we're talking about. So you can go to the bookstore and get that, but really what we want them to do is we want them to call you. So they can hear from the expert. Is that right?
Well, part of what I do is coaching, personal, professional coaching. I like to take the years of experience of hard knocks and kind of help some other people out. And that was really what got me into this field, because I realized that as we get older, a lot of people want to retire. They want to take all this wisdom and knowledge and experience with them. And there's a whole other generation that's coming behind us that, there's no sense in they have to go through and relearn all this stuff again.
That's right.
And so that's what I wanted to do is kind of share what I've learned. And you and I go back a long
That's
ways,
right.
and we've been in the trenches for a long time.
That's right.
And it's nothing like, getting out the trench and helping somebody else get out of it too.
Well, now, one of the things that you're offering for our viewers and for people who see you is a consultation.
Yeah, we offer a free 1-hour session, with companies that or either, preferably companies that are looking to grow themselves and grow their staff. Oftentimes we look at companies and organizations, and they want to improve their bottom line. And the way you improve your bottom line is improve your employees, because employees are the ones that drive the organization.
That's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. Well, when we talk about growth gaps.
Yeah, there are a lot of gaps in growth. One of them is the assumption gap. We assume we're going to grow automatically. We just kind of come up with this idea, and we go out, and like I said, we get slapped across the face and say, okay, no, that's not going to happen. The timing gap, it's never the right time. I've done this over and over again. You put it off and put it off. And there's another law called the law of diminishing intent, which means the longer you put off something that you should do, the less likely or the chance you're going to do it.
That's good.
And I've done that.
Right.
I have a whole lot of unfinished projects. I'm a gadget guy by hand, and my dad was a carpenter, so I picked up a lot of tools. I have a lot of tools at one point that I haven't even opened the box. And sometimes we have tools in our own life that we don't even open the box.
That's good.
And you can't use the tools if you don't open them up.
That's good.
It's just accumulating.
That's good.
And so another gap is the perfection gap. We try to get it just right. I mean, I've done that over and over again. I don't want to get the right piece of paper. I want to get the right pen. I want to get the right time. I want to get this right. And I just never get it. Another gap is the expectation gap. And that's a big one, because oftentimes we think it's going to be easy. I had a saying on my own is life is challenging, whether it's going to be a good life or a bad life. And it takes just as much energy to live a bad life as it does to live a good life. So I may as well use my energy on doing the things that I want to do. And those are some seeds that I try to remember over and over again. I tell my son that, I tell friends that. It's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we were talking about before we came out is a quote by one of the leaders in the organization, which says that people never outperform their own self-belief.
Paul Martinelli, who's the president of the John Maxwell Team, shares that. And oftentimes we have these ideas and these plans, and we don't grow to that. And deep down, we really don't believe we can make it. We really don't believe it's an idea. The first time you tell somebody and they say, well, why are you doing that? And the idea dies. So we have to believe in ourselves. We have to believe that we can do some of the things that we say we're going to do. And it's also good to surround yourself with friends and people who believe in you as well. Because I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it gets tough sometimes.
That's right, it does.
I had a job just recently. I worked 9 years at a nonprofit as an executive director. And I outgrew the organization, and I decided it was time for me to go. people didn't believe that I was going to leave. You know, I had so much time and energy invested in it, but I knew it was time for me to go. And that's a big step. We always say you have to build your wings on the way down. So some of us want our wings before we jump, and that's not how life is.
Well, you know, one of the things that we wanted to also ask you about as it relates to growth and development, we're approaching the end of the year, and of course you've got a session coming up with the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce that you're going to be doing on the 15 laws of growth. But we talked about a growth plan versus a vision board. Everybody talks about vision board. But I heard you say something. You said that you can incorporate your vision board into your growth plan.
You have to have a plan, and if you're really sincere about your plan, then you get certain tools that work for you. And a vision board is another tool that helps us carry out our plan. It also can help us clarify our plans. You know, we have a lot of ideas in our head. I don't know about other people, but I know I do. And I can get all over the board. And what a vision board does is help us, you know, put those ideas out on something tangible that we can see. And then the thing about it, it's on the board. You can take it off, you can add to it. But it's another tool that we use to have a growth plan. You know, it's not either or it's not one versus the other, it's just another tool.
That's good.
If you want to really grow, you have to find the tools that work for yourself and implement those tools. So
one of the things I also saw that you said on your information is that you have to make a decision that you really want to grow.
Yeah, decisions, a lot of us have what I call pipe dreams. You know, early in my life, I hung around with the fellows and we always talked about what we're going to do. And you know, those are things we did in that moment. But you have to really make a decision. And by making that decision, that means we actually do something to make it happen.
That's good.
You know, when you make a decision to get in your car, you don't stand outside the car and just look. You get in it. You make a decision. It's kind of like if you had if you were going on a vacation and you use your GPS. Well, you have to put a destination there to get there. You can't just say, okay, GPS, I want to go somewhere. It doesn't happen like that.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make a decision where you want to go, and then the GPS helps us get there. But that's the same thing with growing.
Excellent. All right, you got to make a decision to grow. Well, Mr. Watson, we've got to go, and we want to thank you for coming on to be with us on the program to talk about this particular great subject, the 15 invaluable laws of growth. We're going to invite you to come back and continue with this series. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.